Get in the little bitty cracks. There you go. You got it good.
This is Muhsin Muhammad of the Carolina Panthers. He is the single greatest athlete ever to play the game of football. Although this may not be true, Muhsin asked me to say that.
All right.
Muhsin donates his time to the United Way through a neighborhood program in his community, which makes him great, just not the greatest.
We got to get this all covered before we go home.
Start, and they did it on the first play of the game with a big kickoff return by Steve Smith.
He goes 94 yards to pay dirt. This is a guy that George Sievert told us, hey, watch out for him, and it didn't take long for him to do his thing, and Steve Smith hits the end zone.
And on the other side of the ball for the Minnesota Vikings, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle. The Carolina Panthers have got pressure and they forced turnovers. Yeah, and Dante Culpepper is not having the auspicious beginning that he would have liked to have here in his third season. Second as a starter, hasn't looked very good. Hasn't looked like he's been in sync at all yet today. No, he hasn't, and especially when you're facing a rookie quarterback like Winky, you'd like to put some points up on the board in a hurry, and Dante Culpepper and Randy Moss and Chris Carter have not been able to do that. And I think one of the biggest reasons they haven't is the loss of Robert Smith is bigger than what it may seem to be, because they haven't been able to run the ball on first down to set it up for the deep ball to Reed and Chris Carter and also Randy Moss. It's been problematic for that Viking offense, but I have to think that the Carolina defense has been outstanding, and that's been Chris Winky, no stinky. He's doing a great job. He's doing fantastic, and he's gotten a lot of help because the Carolina defense has gotten 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions and a fumble by Kleinsasser, and the Carolina Panthers offense has done a fantastic job in the passing game. It's been controlled. Winky has not turned the ball over yet in the game, which is a critical part for their success. Now, the other thing that they've been able to do is run the football. As you can see by the statistics, this is something that's out of the ordinary for the Carolina Panthers, and they've been able to do it with the free agent rookie Nick Goings. They've done a great job running the football with Goings, and you look at the rushing numbers, but a lot of those have come from Dante Culpepper having to scramble. And now we talked earlier about the big 3 and their production. You don't see it right here. This is, if you have the most explosive player in the NFL, as what Denny Green said about Randy Moss, how can you justify 0 receptions in the game? And it's not because Randy Moss has made any drops today. He just has not had the opportunities. Dante has not been able to find them. The problems for the Vikings offense continue from that NFC Championship game at the end of last year when they got beat 41-0 at the hands of the Giants. Still yet to score as Casey kicks off to start the second half. And Nate Jaquette takes it. And he is whopped. Jaquette gets hit. That's a huge hit by Jared Cooper, making the special teams play. And our own Mike Goldberg had a chance to talk to Denny Green coming out of the tunnel at halftime. Here's Mike.
Ray, thank you very much. Downstairs with Coach Dennis Green. Tough first half for Dante Culpepper in the offense.
Well, it wasn't just Dante. I mean, Dante's trying to make too many plays. We're missing field goals. We're doing a lot of things not real well. So we'll try to put that first half behind us and start out in the second half. See if we can get our offense going, play better on special teams, and continue hustling on defense.
How do you get the ball to Randy Moss when they've got double coverage on him?
Well, I think the big thing, underneath coverage, of course, you get it to him. You also run the ball and chase it out of it. Randy gets double coverage a lot. So it's not something that's he's been getting it for 3 years. We just don't have our sync. We're not in sync yet offensively.
Thanks for your time.
You bet.
Back upstairs to Ray.
Thank you, Mike. Chris Carter makes a grab on the opening play for 13 yards as the Vikings come out slinging the football, trying to develop and establish some rhythm within that offense.
And they need to get the crowd back into it. Like we said with Chris Winky coming into this game, that he was going to have to deal with the hostile environment and the noise. Well, that hasn't been much of a factor in the second part of the first half.
First down and 10, Moss at the bottom of the screen. Instead, they hand it off, and this is Morrow up for a couple of yards.
I don't think anybody realized the big loss that Robert Smith really was to this football team. Robert Smith was a tremendous running back, not only in the running game, but also in the passing game. I mean, after all, this Minnesota Viking team last year was the #1 rushing team in the NFC. And they have not been able to be successful on the early running downs to make it tough on defenses to play the pass or the run. They can't figure it out. They can't guess.
Almost intercepted. Nice play by Jimmy Hitchcock. Trying to squeeze it into Randy Moss. I said Harold Morrow on that last play. Forgive me. It was actually the rookie Michael Bennett trying to run the football.
And as you'll see, Randy Moss being covered pretty tight by Jimmy Hitchcock. The one thing that Moss needs to do is to get separation. Chris Carter's a fantastic route runner. I don't know if Randy Moss is a fantastic route runner. I don't think he is at the level that Chris Carter is. Certainly he's not there.
3rd and 8. Culpepper throws it down the sideline looking for Chris Carter. Some contact, but no flag. Rashard Anderson over there bumping with Carter, and the crowd here wants a flag. They don't get one. And I think after that early spate of flags, we're getting a lot less calling. They're letting them play.
They really have. I think they're not making any calls, but really the obvious one. And Chris Carter wants an interference. I think that's a good no call.
Yeah, he jumped right into Rashard Anderson.
If anything, Chris Carter gave him a little push off Rashard Anderson when he made his turn.
Berger crushes this punt, and Smith takes it inside his 20 down at the 16. He takes it. And let's look out for this guy. There's a flag down, and Smith actually loses yardage on his retreat.
And Gerard Cooper is holding his arms up like, what did I do? What did I do?
And Chris Walsh makes a special teams play, a 48-yard punt by Berger and a -3-yard return for Steve Smith. And you're going to get an illegal block on the Carolina Panthers.
And from the reaction of Gerard Cooper, he was the guilty party. That's what you have. You've got a lot of rookies for both of these teams having to contribute on special teams. And early in the season, until they figure out the things that you can and can't do, you will have mental mistakes like this, because penalties, in my mind, are mental mistakes.
Illegal block in the back against Carolina. Number 40, half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10 for Minnesota.
So Carolina will start this one backed up. We'll take a look and see if we can see how Mr. Cooper's hanging here.
That's the block in the back right there by Gerard Cooper. Tries to put his hands up to look innocent, but they caught him.
We'll be back in a moment. An adjustment. The Vikings offense could use one. How about this Carolina offense? Chris Wenke, the rookie quarterback. You see his numbers. Nothing really big about that, but I tell you what, he's controlled this game, and he's done a great job within the confines of this Carolina offense. And they start out 1st and 10. And Doling, who stopped after a very short gain. That's Johnstone making the tackle, but Chris Wenke, we had an opportunity to sit and talk with him, and the words you hear, you hear about him, how mature he is for a rookie quarterback. Yeah, he's 29, but I was impressed with this guy.
The thing that impressed me the most was this is his hometown. He went to Creighton-Durham Hall High School. He's got a lot of family here in this town. But last night, Saturday night at the hotel, when he got here in Minneapolis, he told his family, I'll see you after the game. He did not have a visitor at the hotel last night. To me, that shows a seriousness and a maturity level unseen by other rookies.
Wenke tried to hit Mangum, incomplete. Right now, we'll try to hit JB in L.A. for an NFL update.
Hey, Ray and Jeff, and what the Saints are trying to do is hit their stride offensively after only 64 total yards in the first half. Take a look at this Brooks pass to Albert Connell, guarded by Ken Irving. Great concentration on the part of Connell. A 46-yard strike. Saints on top by Buffalo, 7-6. Let's take it back to Ray and Jeff.
Thank you, JB. 3rd down and 9. Panthers just 2 of 7 on 3rd down conversion. Crowd gets back into it. Wenke knocked away. Tried to hit Muhsin Muhammad, and Griffith almost stole it and went the other way.
That was a flat-out drop by Muhammad. As you can see, Muhammad is just running a slant route. It's just a 3-step, and the ball is gone. You're right in the hands of Muhammad. Griffith was there, but played no role in knocking that ball out. That's a flat-out drop.
That would have been a 1st down, too. Instead, Sauerbrunn on the punt. Nate Jaquette takes it at his own 34. Gets up near midfield before he's brought down. So it was a 59-yard punt, but an 18-yard return. And the Vikings will have excellent field position near midfield, and they need to get something going on offense. They have yet to do a thing. It's 10-0 Carolina. Fox Saturday Baseball. Derek Jeter and the Yankees look to move one step closer to their 4th straight AL East title when they take on Greg Vaughn and the Devil Rays. Or watch Barry Bonds chase history while the Giants and Dodgers chase the NL lead, or the lead in the NL West. It all begins with This Week in Baseball, Saturday at 12:30 Eastern and Pacific. 1st and 10 for the Vikings at their own 49-yard line. Play action, Culpepper. With time, lets it go over the middle. This is complete to the tight end Chamberlain up to the 30-yard line. Give Chamberlain 21 yards on his 4th catch of the day.
Carolina Panthers are playing cover 2 against the Minnesota Vikings, and what that does is open up a lot of underneath routes, and Dante Culpepper does a nice job of finding Byron Chamberlain up underneath of the safety in a hole.
1st and 10. Biggest pass play of the day for the Vikings. Bennett tries to get it outside. He'll get a couple before he runs out of real estate.
We were talking to Matt Burke about the fast running back Michael Bennett, and he said, hey, I've had to talk to Michael a lot about being patient. Watch Burke as the puller, and watch Michael Bennett get so far out in front of Burke. Now, Bennett's got tremendous speed, but he has to learn patience to let his linemen get in front of him.
2nd and 8, Culpepper goes from the shotgun. He gets it outside, complete to Bennett, who makes one man miss and then falls short of the 1st down. That was Jimmy Hitchcock out there trying to untie Bennett's shoes.
Matt Burke, one of 2 Vikings that just recently signed big contract. Matt Burke signing a big money deal for an offensive lineman.
7 years, $30.8 million.
And he's well worth it. He is a fantastic football player. He's athletic, he's strong, and he's incredibly smart.
Ivy Leaguer. 3rd and 2, Culpepper with a half roll. Now he'll tuck it away, and Culpepper picks up the 1st down. Brenson Buckner falls on top of Dante Culpepper, but Culpepper picks up that 1st down. He's the leading rusher for the Vikings.
And a real smart decision by him, knowing that they only needed 2 or 3 yards. Initially, he's looking to find an open guy and read and can't find him. So what he does is just use his feet. But the smart thing I like, right there at the very end, he got down.
Chris Carter on the sidelines. We'll check and see if something's wrong with him, but he hasn't been in yet this series. 1st and 10. Culpepper stays in the shotgun. Takes it now, dumps it underneath. Complete again to Chamberlain. Chamberlain brought down by Wells. 5th grab of the day by the free agent pickup, Byron Chamberlain.
If I'm a defensive coordinator, I'm going to do just this. I'm going to put a man underneath and over the top on Randy Moss. As you can see, Deion Grant as well as Rashard Anderson covering Randy Moss. You can see Deion Grant, he's a safety in a deep half, but all of his attention is going towards one receiver, and that's number 84, Moss.
4 wide receivers in the mix for Culpepper on 2nd and short. Takes it out of the shotgun, quarterback draw, Dante Culpepper, touchdown.
What they did, the Vikings, on this play is they had 4 wide receivers in the ball game and spread them all out. 3 to the right and 1. Randy Moss back to the left side, and they all run up the field to clear it out for Dante Culpepper. As you can see, this is a design running play, and if I'm a quarterback, I like to have number 40, Jim Kleinsaucer, leading up in the hole. He's a big man.
Gary Anderson nails the extra point. And the Vikings get on the scoreboard. A 6-play, 51-yard drive, a Culpepper 7-yard touchdown run, and it's 10-7 Carolina.
In the formation out there's not a whole lot of guys in the box, but the guys that are left in there, Matt Burke is leading the way, having a fantastic block against the rookie Chris Jenkins. Ties up the guy who has to be the stalwart in the middle of that defense when your defensive backs and everybody are spread out. Dante Culpepper walks into the end zone untouched.
You see the drive stats. Culpepper 6 carries, 40 yards, and a touchdown. He's getting it done on the ground. And back to receive on the left of your screen is Steve Smith, who took the opening kickoff 94 yards to the house, and he'll take this one from the goal line. Smith rattled this time, and the Vikings are fired up. Thibodeau and Lemansky Hall combined for a big hit. And the Vikings have awoken. 10-7 Carolina. Minnesota Vikings with 9 minutes left here in the third quarter. Get on the board. 10-7 now. Carolina over Minnesota. And I think the key to the Viking offense waking up, that long pass to Jake Reed, and now Culpepper's ability to find his tight end Chamberlain.
Yeah, when you're taking away the deep balls like Carolina has, you've got to find other options, and that's going to fall on the tight end and also the third wide receiver, Jake Reed.
Let's see how the Panthers respond. Chris Wenke at quarterback. And he goes right to the air. Down the field to Wesley Walls. Walls up to the 44-yard line. Let's now get it out to L.A. Here's JB with an NFL update.
Ray and Jeff, Elvis Gerback finally getting it out for Baltimore. Play action here as he hooks up with a wide-open Sam Gash in the flat. 6-yard touchdown play. Baltimore finally on the board with the touchdown. 10-6 over Chicago. Ray and Jeff.
Thank you, JB. Great pass by Chris Wenke, finding a wide-open Wesley Walls. Moves the Panthers out of the shadow of their own end zone. Wenke back to throw again. This time he goes up the sidelines and shoots it into Muhammad. What a great catch. No. They say he's out of bounds. Muhammad over lobbying, and now there's a little bit of a discussion going on with the official. They want to say, hey, he got pushed out. Take another look at it.
Winkley, he delivers a BB. I mean, right on the money, just high enough. And Orlando Thomas gets just enough of him to keep his feet from coming down and bounds.
Well, that's a judgment call. You could rule that he was forced out of bounds, but the officials chose not to. 2nd and 10. Wenke, third consecutive pass on this drive. Intercepted over the middle. This one's called by Talent Sawyer. And a zone dog got the young rookie quarterback.
And this is what we were expecting to see against Chris Wenke. Zone dog is not bringing any extra guys against the passer, but it's designed to confuse. Talent Sawyer is right here. Dropped. The left defensive end drops in coverage, and Wenke is trying to get it delivered to Wesley Walls. And Talent Sawyer, for a defensive end, does a fantastic job of falling back inside and making the interception.
Well, Willie Shaw wanted more interceptions on defense. He didn't think he was going to get them from linemen, but you see that the Vikings intercept this football, and that was a point of contention and improvement that they wanted to have, and they get it here in the third. The momentum has swung the way of the Vikings, and Bennett swings outside to the left, and he picks up 7 yards before he's brought down by Dean Wells. And Wells playing linebacker because Dan Morgan has been out.
And in the first half, Wenke was good because he didn't turn the ball over. In this instance, he is under pressure, but he stays in there strong. He doesn't let the pressure affect his throw. That was just a bad decision on Chris Wenke's part.
Fred Robbins put that pressure on him.
And now the crowd is back in it. They have woken up the Metrodome.
2nd and 3 for the Vikings. 3 wide receivers in the game. Chris Carter still on the bench. Culpepper going deep for Randy Moss. Moss with his first catch of the day.
If the interception didn't get the fans back in, I guarantee you this catch by Randy Moss, his first of the day, has definitely gotten them back in. This is just a little Out route to Randy Moss, and what a great throw by Dante Culpepper, and he does a great job of getting both of his feet down in bounds. Drags that right toe.
Well, all you fantasy players out there, Moss, 1 reception, 28 yards. And he goes out to the left, I formation behind Culpepper. And they run the draw. And Bennett looks for somewhere to go. He gets a couple of yards trying the middle of that Carolina Panther line. Let's go back to Randy Moss, and that's has been anyway in the preseason the catalyst for the Vikings offense.
The thing I liked about that route was that he broke it off before he got to the depth of the guy over the top, and that was the safety, Orlando Thomas. The route was broken off in between the two of them.
You see Moss, some of the numbers in his incredible NFL career thus far, those 43 touchdowns, 3 Pro Bowls, and he has come alive here in the Vikings offense in the 3rd quarter. Now Culpepper scrambles, and he throws it high and wide up into the stands. Looked like an arena ball game there. Throw it up into the stands. They get to keep the football.
One thing Dante Culpepper can do is move around in the pocket. He was actually looking to the right side of the formation, and when he couldn't find anybody, as we've seen, the trend in the NFL is to have the mobile quarterback. He doesn't gain any yardage, but he makes a smart decision in throwing it out of the back of the end zone to not take the sack or any lost yardage.
Big 3rd down here, 3rd and 8. 2 tight ends in the mix. Bootleg, Culpepper. Nowhere to go with it. He keeps it alive. Now he throws it to the corner of the end zone. Caught by Carter. Touchdown, Vikings. Chris Carter now has 125 career touchdowns. That ties him for 5th all-time with Walter Payton.
And Chris Carter is limping. We have seen him throughout the course of the game getting his hip stretched. And Chris Carter is noticeably limping now. What a fantastic job of getting his feet down in bounds in the end zone.
And how about Culpepper keeping that thing alive and then throwing it on a dime? Gary Anderson on to add the extra point. Block. Sean Gilbert up the middle blocks the extra point. So the Vikings have kicking problems. They've missed a field goal. Now they get an extra point blocked. But they still take the lead 13-10 here over Carolina. Let's take another look at this touchdown. And it's an incredible job by both of these men.
And this was not something that was written up in the playbook. Chris Carter's really not even a primary receiver. He's jogging, but when he sees Dante Culpepper in trouble, he does the smart thing and goes to an open area. And you can see his ability to get his feet down in bounds. And as any other veteran, smart veteran, great receiver does, the little subtleties of a little right elbow against Hitchcock to get just enough room.
And I tell you what, Chris Carter is the best at that. Let's go to this extra point, which may come into play later on. It's now just a 3-point margin as Sean Gilbert gets up the middle and gets the big hand up, both hands, as a matter of fact, and rejects the Anderson kick.
Sean Gilbert went right up through the middle, plowing through guys. And Gary Anderson did not get a whole lot of lift, elevation on his kick. As you can see, Chris Carter getting worked on with his right hip area. In practice on Friday, he seemed to be somewhat limited.
Well, they got it going now here in the Metrodome. The crowd back into this one as the Vikings are back in as well. Berger kicks this one deep. And Smith takes this one 5 yards deep in the end zone. And he gets wrapped up just at the 20-yard line. And right now, let's go down to the sidelines. Mike Goldberg has a report on Chris Carter. Mike?
Guys, you've been talking a lot about Chris Carter. He is noticeably limping, as you can see right now. They are calling it a right quad contusion. You can see a pad on his right leg up near his thigh area. It's a right quad contusion. He's hurting, but obviously not bad enough that he wasn't able to make a great catch a moment ago.
You'd never see wide receivers wear thigh pads. Never. If he's wearing one, he's hurting.
Must have a contusion. Going stumbles in the backfield, gets just back to the line of scrimmage. And we talked about Carter and climbing that all-time touchdown list. There he is, tied with Walter Payton, one behind Jim Brown, but a long way to go to catch Jerry Rice. Carter with 124 touchdown receptions in his career and 1 return touchdown.
And now the loud crowd will affect Chris Weinke once again like it did early in this ballgame.
2nd and 10, Weinke with 3 wide receivers in the mix. And he'll go to throw. Dumps it on a crossing pattern, complete for the first down to Donald Hayes. Hayes makes his initial grab of the game. Coming up next, stick around. Many of you will see the Rams take on the Eagles. We've got the Redskins going up against the Chargers. Another regional action on our Fox NFL doubleheader on 2001 kickoff weekend.
Excellent job by Chris Weinke. They're going through his progression, finding Donald Hayes crossing the formation.
First and 10, Goings breaks the tackle, and then he gets wrapped up by Robert Griffith with a big hit. It gives Goings another 7 yards on the pickup.
One thing that the Carolina Panthers need to make sure does not happen is for them to get behind by more than just 3 points. That would create a tremendous amount of pressure on a rookie quarterback in a loud, hostile environment.
Second down and 3. The pitch to Biaka Batuka, the flea flicker. Weinke's got a wide open Muhsin Muhammad. He's got it. Muhammad chased down at the 17-yard line. Robert Griffith got him with some razzle-dazzle from the Panthers.
What a great play drawn up by George Seifert. They fake. Actually, they give the ball to Biaka Batuka, and he goes up into the line of scrimmage and then stops as all the secondary guys creep up for the run. He flips it back to Weinke, and Muhammad was actually open by about 10 to 15 yards and might have walked in if Weinke had hit him in on stride, but it allowed Robert Griffith enough time just to recover to make the tackle.
How about that from the Carolina Panthers? First and 10. They're now on the Minnesota 17. Stunned everybody here. Now Weinke on play action gets this one batted away. Incomplete. Kylie Wong almost came up with it. Looked like Winfield Garnett tipped that pass.
And to Lance Sawyer, the running back was supposed to pick him up, and Weinke had to get rid of that ball faster than he wanted to and put some serious spice on that throw. That thing was hot. Too hard for the running back to catch the ball.
Goings on the cutback. Nowhere to go for him. And that's Fred Robbins making a nice play. Robbins, a second-year man out of Wake Forest.
That's to Lance Sawyer. As you'll see, number 44, Chris Hetherington, is really supposed to block him, but Talance keeps his feet right here, and watch what happens. He gets back up and makes the play.
Big down here, 3rd and 9. Weinke over the middle, touchdown Carolina, Muhsin Muhammad. 16 yards, and it quiets the crowd in the Metrodome as the Panthers retake the lead.
If I didn't know that Chris Weinke threw that ball, I would have said no way in the world that a rookie made that throw. You want to talk about threading the needle. There was not a whole lot of room to get that ball squeezed in to Muhsin Muhammad.
John Casey on to attempt the extra point. And that's good, and Carolina takes a 4-point lead. 17-13 now the score. Carolina over Minnesota as the young quarterback answers with this touchdown pass to Muhammad.
Touchdown pass to Muhsin Muhammad. There were 3 potential defenders. Right here, Kylie Wong, as well as Robert Griffith. Then also you have Orlando Thomas squeezing from the left. What a great throw by Chris Wenke.
Casey kicks it deep. Saquette from the goal line. And he is stuffed inside the 20, down at the 19-yard line. And there's Muhsin Muhammad, who come up with that touchdown pass. Look at this drive. On this drive, Muhammad had the 16-yard touchdown catch. He also caught the flea flicker, and Wenke went to the air for that one. 80-yard drive, 72 of it coming via the air.
And after Minnesota coming out here in the second half and scoring 13 points, what a big drive for Carolina to answer the Vikings.
Culpepper under center, 1st and 10. Walsh in motion. Michael Bennett tries to cut back and squirms for a couple. The Vikings started out their offense, couldn't get out of their own way, but look at these last 2 drives.
And they've been able to do that with the underneath routes to their wide receivers. It took Dante Culpepper a half to realize that he was not going to get the deep ball. And it hurts not having a solid running game, which they really haven't had so far in this game.
2nd and 6, I formation. Bennett behind Kleinsasser. Culpepper to the air, throws it outside, and it was look one way, throw the other, and he couldn't get it to Bennett. Boy, he wanted Moss on that corner route again.
Going back to the last play, the refs really, they missed an opportunity. Hannibal Navies was engaged with the big man, David Dixon, and look, he just absolutely rips his helmet right off his head. How can you miss that way?
I know, usually when I did that, the helmet never came off. When you rip the helmet off, they should get that one.
I would think that would be a fairly easy call.
Vikings 3 of 7 on 3rd down on the day. This one a 3rd and 6. Culpepper with the time, throws it over the middle, incomplete. Tried to squeeze it into Randy Moss.
Randy Moss is actually on the outside of the formation, then bends it in to this area, and the ball's a little low. Tough catch for Randy Moss.
The Vikings will have to punt. Steve Smith back at his own 34 to receive. Berger hits it pretty good. Smith all the way back to his own 23. And he's brought down at the 32-yard line. A 55-yard punt, a 12-yard return as Matt Snyder made the special teams play, but there is a flag down.
During the return, illegal block in the back against Carolina, number 20. 10-yard penalty. And in the run, 1st and 10.
That's Perry Phoenix, who was just picked up in a trade late last week, and here he is, and there it is. Phoenix, first he grabbed him, threw him down. That wasn't enough. He had to come back and clip him as well.
Hey, if you're going to be guilty, you might as well go all the way, I guess.
So Chris Wenke and company get the football back. They have a 4-point lead, 1:40 to go here in the 3rd. Biakabatuka tries the left side, and he gets a hole, and here goes Kamunga. He gets a 1st down all the way up to the 37, but there is a flag down.
And it was thrown in the area of number 75, Todd Stussy.
Stussy had a couple penalties on him earlier. The former Viking making the return back here to Minnesota. It is holding on Carolina. We'll see who the guilty party is.
During the run, holding Carolina, number 75. 10-yard penalty from the survival foul. Still first down.
You called it.
Todd Stussy has not had a particularly great homecoming so far with the penalties. This is Todd Stussy right here on number 50, Patrick Chikura.
Where's the holding though?
I think he did just a great job of keeping his hands inside.
Yeah, I don't consider that holding. I think that was a tough call. Winky down the middle. What a catch by Walls. Orlando Thomas almost took it away, but Walls hung on for a 23-yard gain. How about that?
That's why it was easy for Chris Winky to find a comfort level with number 85, Wesley Walls, because he makes catches like that. Orlando Thomas had a real good chance at making the interception. And look at Wesley Walls off on his fingertips and makes the catch. That's what makes Wesley Walls a great tight end.
And he's a great guy, too. We got to spend some time with him, and he's one of the classy guys in the NFL. Yakupatuka tripped up in the backfield. Robert Tate with the defensive play. Coming up next in the second part of our kickoff weekend doubleheader, Marshall Falk leads the explosive Rams against Donovan McNabb and the Eagles in a showdown of NFC contenders. Or you'll see other regional play. A full day of NFL action continues next here on Fox, including in the Minnesota viewing area.
Winky to me certainly does not look like a rookie here today. This is the toughest places you could ever ask a young player to play.
And Chris Winky's done an outstanding job, and that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Carolina 17, Minnesota 13. We'll be back with fourth quarter action after these messages. The Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Ray Bentley along with Jeff Lageman, Mike Goldberg on the sidelines. And boy, we've got a great football game that broke out here. A lot of the expectations were the Vikings might run away with this one. Somebody tell Carolina that, because they are doing an outstanding job behind the rookie quarterback Chris Winky. They have the lead here 17-13 as we start the final stanza.
Big toss, Winky. And he'll be sacked way back at the 25-yard line.
Tyler Wong in there. Chris Hovan started the rush. And Wong finished it off.
If you're going to run a play action fake, you have to sell it to the defensive lineman. And watch Chris Hovan. He doesn't buy it one bit. He's up the field against Jamar Nesbitt, and one-handed along with Ed McDaniel brings down Chris Winky. Great play by Chris Hovan.
Brings up a third down and 23.
The draw doesn't work, and the Panthers will have to punt this one. The Vikings defense rises to the occasion here to start the fourth quarter.
And Ed McDaniel continues to make a big impact for this Vikings defense. He was involved with the sack of Chris Winky along with Chris Hovan. And then on the third and long, Ed McDaniel comes through again on the draw to Yakupatuka.
McDaniel and Hovan split that sack. Fourth down.
Sauerbrun's punt hangs high, and Jaquette takes it,
and his knee just did hit the ground at the 16-yard line.
50-yard kick from Sauerbrunn.
Here comes that Viking offense to try to answer, but there's a flag down. We'll sort that one out. Viking offense pretty much, somebody forgot to tell them the game started there in the first half. But they did a great job coming out after halftime and putting points on the board in successive drives in the third quarter.
And if this penalty goes against the Carolina Panthers, this is going to be costly for field position. It was Gerard Cooper and Nate Jaquette jawing at each other on the sideline.
And that's one point of emphasis in the NFL this year. One thing that they talked about to us was the sportsmanship. and the taunting, and they're not going to allow this to happen.
Gerard Cooper got involved late, but the man that was involved before was Carl Hankton. Actually threw a punch to the head of Nate Jaquette, and then Jaquette threw the ball at him. That can go either way. It's just a matter of what time frame the referee had to see.
After the play, unsportsmanlike conduct against Minnesota. Penalty be half the distance to the goal. 1st and 10.
I'm sure it's on Jaquette, and obviously the official didn't see the left jab from Hankton, which kind of precipitated the ball being thrown.
Unsportsmanlike
in a lot of
conduct
situations, when you have that kind of area, it always goes to the guy that retaliates.
We'll be back with more action in a moment. So that penalty was called on Nate Jaquette, but I think Hankton was equally guilty. If you want to see what happened, we'll show it to you after this play of the little goings on. It looked like a little schoolyard scuffle, and it ended up costing the Vikings. 1st and 10 now from their own 9-yard line, trailing by 4. Culpepper, play action. He's got time. He throws it over the middle looking for Moss. It's intercepted. It's a great play by Deion Grant, the free safety. He picks it off.
George Seifert was real interested in seeing how Deion Grant was going to perform, because in the preseason he said that he had no big plays. He wasn't really challenged. Well, he's challenged on this play as Culpepper tries to force it in to Randy Moss. And look at the hands by Deion Grant.
Wow. And here's what happened that really backed the Vikings up. And we had talked about the little back and forth deal, but it's a moot point now as Carolina intercepts the football. The 3rd interception of the day of Culpepper, and Wenke and company are in business at at the Viking 34. And Minnesota takes a timeout to try and settle down. And there is a flag as well.
Timeout, number 48, Minnesota.
So there is no flag. The Vikings do take a timeout. Carolina with the lead, and the ball in Viking territory. Turned it over again. You look at the summary on the day, the 10 possessions, a couple of touchdowns, both coming in the 3rd quarter. 4 punts. How about them turnovers?
That's been the biggest thing in this ball game for the Carolina team, being able to get the turnovers. They've prevented the big play, and they've gotten turnovers. If you want to add to this list right here, a missed field goal opportunity by Gary Anderson, and then also the special teams caution you with the big kickoff return and the missed block extra point.
Add it all up, Carolina with the lead with the ball at the Viking 34, 1st and 10. They go to the ground, going hit in the backfield. Lance Johnstone.
Lance Johnstone does a great job of getting penetration to make the tackle for about a 2-yard loss. He absolutely beats Chris Mangum to the inside of the hole to get into the backfield. And talking with Brian Baker, the defensive line coach for Minnesota, he said he's expecting big things out of Lance Johnstone this year.
2nd and 12, Chris Hetherington, the lone back in the backfield. Wenke to throw. Throws it inside. What another great catch by the tight end, Wesley Walls. 25 yards on this one. Walls, he'll pick your pocket.
Just when you think you've got Wesley Walls covered, you don't. He looked to be absolutely covered completely by Kenny Wright.
That's a corner working on him.
I mean, this is not a safety tight end matchup. I mean, he's got one of the best cover positions that you could have on a tight end. And it wasn't a big, exciting catch because of the height, where he might catch one that's high and the cornerback's not as tall. That was just a great catch by Wesley Walls.
Mangum in motion. They go to the ground with going. Wesley Walls, 3 grabs, 1 for 25 yards, 1 for 24 yards, and then that last one for 25 yards. You need 25 yards, just throw it to Walls.
Just throw it anywhere near him and he's going to catch it.
Throw it up against the wall.
Wesley was one of the guys in the offseason when Carolina Panthers started making the subtractions from their roster, was real concerned about his roster spot.
Right, a very close friend of Steve Berline. At Berline's house for a birthday party when Seifert called and said, hey, I want to talk to you tomorrow. Told Seifert, Berline's probably nothing. And it ended up to be the demise as a Carolina Panther for Steve Berline. Walls was kind of worried about his own fate.
Hey, there's no reason for Wesley Walls to be concerned about his roster spot when he makes catches like that.
Well, he's got the Panthers in scoring position now inside the 10-yard line where they'll face another critical third down.
And a lot of the noise in here is not so much fans, but the music that's being played. That's why Winky's having to cover the ear holes to hear the offensive play call.
Gets that crowd going. They're back into it. Third down and 6. Winky over the middle to Muhammad. He catches it inside the 1-yard line. We'll see if it's close to a first down. Depends on where they mark this one. We may have to measure to see if it's a first down or not.
And Wesley Walls is usually the focal point of the red zone defense. 2 guys covering him up, so when they've got 2 guys on Wesley Walls, the rookie Winky looks elsewhere and finds an open Muhammad.
There's a Viking down on the field and trying to see who that is. Can't tell from this angle. He's seeking attention, and they're going to have to attend to the injured player before they can check and see if it's a first down with the measurement. And it's Orlando Thomas, number 42, shaken up on the play.
And Orlando Thomas over the last 2 years has had a rough go when it comes to injuries. Both last year and the year before, broken scapulas have sidelined him. I've always wondered, I mean, you understand separated shoulders and dislocated shoulders, but very rare that a player will have broken scapulas. One, and now this guy for 2 years in a row had broken scapulas. One on the left side and the other on the right side.
He talked about, he said that there was maybe a hole in his shoulder pads that kind of created the problem, and so he's got some new pads now.
And you can see they're much bigger pads than you would normally see on a defensive back.
And the measurement, and it is a first down for the Carolina Panthers. First and goal at the 1-yard line. Garnett and Willie Howard check into that Viking defensive line to beef it up. A goal line situation. First and goal for Carolina. Goings in the I formation behind Hetherington. Winky takes the snap. Hetherington flag down, and he does not get into the end zone. He stopped just short. We'll see what the flag is.
Lance Johnstone better be careful. He's going to draw a flag while he's trying to drag Chris Hetherington back.
And Hetherington punched him in the shins. Take that.
With the emphasis on taunting after the whistles, you've got to be careful.
That's a snap. Number 51, Minnesota, lined up in the neutral zone.
The second time that's happened today. Lance Johnstone with the penalty.
This is Lance Johnson. You can see, look at his hand level versus the other defensive lineman's hand levels. He is definitely about a half a yard farther up to the line of scrimmage than the rest of them. And from the sideline view, you can see he is clearly in the neutral zone. In fact, on the other side of it.
So they'll redo first down, half the distance to the goal. First and goal from inside the 1. And Winky tries to take it himself, and he's not able to get in there. Winky is a big quarterback at 6'4", 232. He's not able to get in there. Ed McDaniel came over the top.
Dante Culpepper has proven to be a very good quarterback sneak. Quarterback, Chris Winky didn't show it.
Oh, how did they do it again? This time Winky gets in. Touchdown Carolina.
But he took the other route this time. Instead of trying to burrow in, he dives over the top. For Chris Winky's first spike and his first NFL touchdown rushing. And he does a hurry-up offense to get the Minnesota Vikings defense caught off guard a little bit. Does a great job going over the top.
Nice job of sticking the ball out over that goal line and pulling it back in to protect it. And Carolina up now 23-13, pending the extra point, and that's good from Casey. And now Carolina has quieted this crowd again. It's 24 for the Panthers, 13 for the Vikings, with 9:52 remaining in the ball game. After the Deion Grant interception, capped off by the Winky 1-yard touchdown run, and Carolina has taken control. Casey's kick puts Jaquette back at his own goal line. Jaquette stopped before the 20. He's hit it to 17. It's a nice defensive play by Brad Hoover. And a key play in this game that may yet come into play was that blocked extra point by Sean Gilbert.
For Minnesota to get back and tie this score, it's an 11-point game now, so they're going to have to score a touchdown, convert a 2-point conversion and a field goal.
Culpepper won for his last 5, and also an interception, and Chris Carter on the sideline. Had a quad contusion that's kept him out of pretty much most of the second half. Culpepper throws it out to Kleinsoffer. Kleinsoffer tries to run people over, gets out of bounds at the 31-yard line.
Kleinsoffer is definitely not one of those guys, once he gets the ball, is going to make people miss.
He ain't going out of bounds either.
He's just one of these big receivers. Now look at him. He doesn't even try to make a move. He's dropping his shoulders. That's 275 pounds to tackle. DBs don't like that.
No, that's a load. Culpepper in the shotgun. Chamberlain in motion. Throws it outside. No, dropped by Byron Chamberlain. Chamberlain with 5 catches for 51 yards on the day. Let that one go through his hands.
And one missed opportunity right there. As you can see, they have a bunch formation with Chamberlain right here in that bunch. He lets Moss clear out along with Jake Reed and just falls under the formation to try and confuse Rashard Anderson. He was open, but he just dropped the ball.
Chris Carter back in the ball game at the bottom of your set. 2nd and 10. Culpepper throws it out to Carter. He catches it. A gain of 9 on the play. You see him get the feet down. I don't know if there's anyone better in the business than Chris Carter around those sidelines.
In my mind, there's not. That's what makes him so good when you get down into the red zone. And as far as Chris Carter scoring touchdowns, look at that, 1-2, and he's down.
Big 3rd down and 1. You see Carter's numbers on the day. And there's the sneak by Culpepper, and they'll get the 1st down. See your instant scores in the upper right-hand portion of your screen.
Tampa Bay not getting much offensive production.
Look at Culpepper trying to get him going. He wants the plays in faster. They want to get something going. And now there's a substitution going on up front in that offensive line. Everett Lindsey checks in. And Mac Burt had to come out and get his helmet adjusted, I believe. Excuse me, Corbin Lucina with the helmet problem had to come out, and Bennett takes it to the right side. He stops for a short gain. Nice defensive play there by Jason Peter.
And the fans are getting restless here in the Metrodome. You only have 8 minutes left in the 4th quarter, and the Vikings are down by 11 points.
Think they want them to air it out?
Absolutely. Carolina has been able to shut down the big plays.
2nd and 9, Culpepper. That was it. No, incomplete. Off the hands of Carter.
And Culpepper was under pressure by Jason Peter. He held on to the ball for quite some time. This is Jason Peter right here on the near side of your screen, working against number 74, Brad Badger. And gets a good pass rush. Brad Badger trying to replace the guy who's on the other side of the field, Todd Stussy.
Big 3rd down now for Minnesota. Third and 9, Culpepper.
Throws it outside. Chamberlain can't hang on to it.
And now it's decision time. And do you go for this one? Is it too early to do that yet? And on a 4th and 9 from in this position?
With this explosive offense, I think it would be too early to try and go for it on 4th down. This offense can put points on the board in seconds. It doesn't take them very long. But they haven't proven so far today to be very explosive. But in the preseason and all of last year, they were.
So Green opts to punt.
Berger does the job. And this one stops for him, and this will pin the Panthers. They're trying to fan the ball inside the 1-yard line, and they stop it. A great punt by Mitch Berger, 55 yards, and Carolina will start in the shadow of their end zone. They're up by 11. Hetherington hammers the middle. He may have picked up a yard. And game summary, and really to 17 points. And then the total yards, a pretty even battle, but not the offensive explosion you would have expected from the Vikings here today.
No, definitely not. And then also you take into account, if not for the missed field goal and the blocked extra point, we would have a 7-point game.
It stands at 11 as it is 24-13. Carolina over Minnesota. 2nd down and 9 as Carolina's backed up.
And Goings gets a little bit of room, give him out to the 4-yard line where he stopped. And now it brings up a big 3rd down. And this, with a stop here, would put the Vikings in pretty decent field position.
And it's kind of surprising to see who George Seifert chose to have at the running back position when their offense was backed up. You would think that he would go with 6-year tailback Timongo Biaka-Batuka, but he hasn't. He's gone with a rookie.
Yeah,
Nick Goings.
Batuka's had a little history of fumbling in the preseason, and then spit one out here today as well. 3rd down.
Wenke throws it away. Great coverage over there. Kylie Wong had Hetherington blanketed, and there's nowhere to go with it.
Well, what a veteran play by Wenke. He was eyeballing Wesley Walls all the way, and when he realized that he was not open, he did the smart thing. He threw it away. That's not the decision-making of a rookie quarterback.
And that's pretty scary back there. You know you're in your own end zone. You don't want to make a mistake there.
And that's where Sauerbrunn will punt from. He gets this one away, a high hanging kick. Jacquet at his own 44.
He takes it out of bounds at the Carolina 48-yard line. A 52-yard punt, an 8-yard return, and the Vikings have pretty good field position as the offense takes the field. And Randy Moss, 24 years old. Dante Culpepper, 24 years old. Speaking of 24, this fall Fox presents Kiefer Sutherland in a groundbreaking new series called 24. The critics love it. In fact, the New York Times calls 24 the most anticipated new show of the season. 24. The clock starts ticking Tuesdays this fall on Fox.
Clock ticking now for the Vikings as Culpepper back to throw. Dumps it outside to Chamberlain.
Chamberlain goes out of bounds. A modest gain of 6 yards.
Dante Culpepper could have gotten rid of that ball about 2 seconds before he did and allowed Chamberlain a little room to run.
He looks like the rookie here today.
To be quite honest with you, you would think that the roles would be reversed. Dante Culpepper, if he had gotten rid of that ball with the read, Byron Chamberlain probably would have gained in the neighborhood of 15 yards or more instead of the 6 or 7 yard gain that he got.
Dante from the gun. Holds it again now down the middle, looking for Chamberlain. Oh, just overthrows him. Looked like Chamberlain had a step on Grant.
As you can see, here he is, right here in the formation, trying to get up the field in the seam to split the safeties. Now look who's covering him. Dan Morgan, number 55, who's back in the game after missing some time with what was reported to be a groin problem.
I take that back. That Morgan, he's got some speed.
He can run.
I don't believe Chamberlain had a step on anybody.
We asked him how fast. He said, I've been clocked anywhere from 4.4 to 4.5. That's flying. This is somebody that weighs 235, 240 pounds.
Culpepper with pressure. Now he'll scramble. And Dante stops short of the first down. Gerard Cooper with the tackle. Let's see where they mark the football. It's going to be close. The Vikings will go for it in this situation.
We're going to have to measure this one.
Officials timeout.
Number 85, Minnesota.
Wait a minute. No, they say that Minnesota took the timeout.
It's Andrew Jordan who called the timeout.
Talking to Dennis Green about Dante Culpepper in the preseason, he said he had a tremendous camp. Last year, his numbers were incredible. Completed 62.7% of his passes. 33 touchdown passes, 470 yards rushing.
7 touchdowns on the ground, reaching this elusive club, the 40 touchdown club. Those are pretty good names on top of Culpepper.
And the amazing thing is that a lot of those guys that are above him did it mostly in the air. And Dante's been able to do it not only in the air, but on the ground with his own legs.
We'll see how his legs did on this one. We're going to measure this. It could bring up a 4th down here for the Vikings.
I think the Vikings really wasted a timeout right here because they would have, if they would have asked for a measurement, they would have gotten the clock stopped for the measurement anyway.
There's no doubt about it. And as I was saying, Andrew Jordan took that timeout with 4:55 here to go. And used the first timeout. The Vikings have 2 remaining. Let me correct that. The Vikings have 1 timeout remaining. As you see, coming up next, the second half of our Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader 2001 kickoff weekend. And it's 4th down, and the Vikings have to go for it in this situation.
And they've got it to get about a foot, and it's going to be interesting. Will Dante Culpepper use the audible, which he has the right to do for the quarterback sneak, but the defensive linemen are stacked in there. I don't think he will.
He was changing the call. Maybe he's trying to draw him off. And he does go for that sneak, and Culpepper, from this angle, got that first down. And there's some of the little extra stuff you talked about.
Most quarterbacks in that situation, there's no way in the world that they would have stayed with the quarterback sneak. The Carolina Panthers had everybody stacked right on the center on Matt Burke. But Dante Culpepper stayed with it.
He knocked Dan Morgan back off the ball a little bit.
That's what you get when you have a 265-pound quarterback. And I look at it from overhead, you can see Brenson Buckner and Larry Chester lined up on each shoulder of Matt Burke. They were ready for the quarterback sneak. They just couldn't stop it. And if he got it, it wasn't by much.
And I believe he did. And it is 1st down Vikings. Culpepper, the leading rusher for the Vikings, 9 totes, 47 yards.
Those quarterbacks are 215, 220. Here's a quarterback that's 265 pounds, and you put that on the back of an offensive lineman who's trying to lean forward, and you can get 6 inches.
Yeah, that's not fair. 1st and 10, Vikings trying for the comeback. Culpepper down the middle, wide open, Timberland. Byron Chamberlain down to the 10-yard line. Give him 28 on the pickup. The Vikings in the hurry-up mode. And David Dixon moved a little early on that, at their right guard spot.
Foul start. Number 76, Minnesota. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
Chris Lewinsky, the man moving.
Going back to the last play, to the big play, Byron Chamberlain, that's him, lined up on the inside of Jake Reed and Randy Moss. He just finds a little seam behind Hannibal Davies, who we watched on film, Ray, wasn't real adept in pass coverage.
Let Chamberlain just fly by there. After the penalty, 1st and 15. Culpepper, flag down. Culpepper picks up 5. Mike Rucker ran him down. And that's in the area of offensive holding.
I think they're going to call Chris Lewinsky against Chris Slade. Lewinsky wouldn't let Chris Slade go as Dante Culpepper was running by.
Incidental face mask, number 50, Carolina.
Wow. Called it on Chris Slade. He said, who, me? Take a look at this.
This is the matchup we're talking about, Lewinsky and Slade. I want you to watch when Dante Culpepper starts to go by Lewinsky, and Lewinsky won't let him go. So I think Chris Slade just reaches out and gets a piece of his face mask.
Incidental face mask penalty. There's 5 yards.
That's a questionable one there.
Repeat, first down.
I think Chris Slade was saying, wait a minute, where was the holding?
Still trying to figure it out. Vikings red zone offense. 2 tries, 2 touchdowns. Here they go, 1st and 6. From the 6. Play action, Culpepper. Finds some room. Dante Culpepper. Touchdown. No, he's just short. And the ball came out. And Carolina says, hey, we got the football. That should be a touchback.
You can hear the Carolina players, all of them are yelling touchback, touchback.
Yeah, if you fumble through the end zone and it goes out of bounds, it's a touchback.
Chris Carter did the smart thing in pulling Dante Culpepper out of the mix. And nothing would happen. Let's take a look and see if, in fact, he did fumble it before he stepped out of bounds, as the official claims. Chris Slade and Gerard Cooper lays a hit on him, and the ball's out.
That's a fumble. But
that's a fumble.
Just depends on which side of the pylon that ball went out on.
That's a fumble.
You see the red flag there. George Seifert gave it a heck of a toss. It's down there around the 10-yard line. He threw it all the way out there.
Excellent play by Gerard Cooper, and hustling to get to the pylon before Dante Culpepper could.
I mean, you talk about a flag throw, and Carolina, George Seifert let that thing fly. There it is, and that's all the way down on the 12-yard line.
Ruling
if he stayed in the
that
coach's
the
box,
ball was fumbled out of bounds prior to the end zone.
If Seifert stayed in the coach's box, that's about an 18-yard throw with the hanky. That's pretty good distance with a hanky.
He must weight that thing down with some rocks. But the question is, where did the ball go out of bounds after it was fumbled by Culpepper? If it went through the end zone, that's going to be a touchback. It'll be Carolina ball on the 20, 1st and 10. If it went out of bounds before crossing the plane of the end zone, then it's going to be Minnesota ball inside the 1. And that's what we're talking about.
Trying to get a look at where this ball in fact goes out. That ball goes out through the end zone.
I think, yeah, the first angle we saw, it was definitely a fumble. You just got to see where did it go out. That's a touchback by my count. It looked like it went inside that pylon.
Absolutely. You see, this is the best angle to see where the ball is when it's lost. And it's lost pretty much right at the goal line. And from the other angle, we could tell that it actually went into the corner of the end zone even more so. So that will definitely pass right through the end zone. And here's a great shot. I mean, this is probably the best shot that we're going to have.
Or not. Let's see if we can't cue that one up. I thought the one that you had mentioned, Jeff, was definitively that ball was inside the pylon. And once it breaks the plane and then it goes out of bounds like it did, that's going to be a touchback. Here's that look.
This is the angle that I like right here. You can see it shoots right out, and you can see it actually falls behind the pylon right here. You can see the pylon as the ball passes behind it. You never see the pylon disappear. That means the ball goes through the end zone. That's as good a picture as you could get. You need to feed that replay down to the referee on the field.
Yeah, I'm sure that he's going to get a peek at that one, and when he does, you know, to me that's conclusive.
Absolutely. And then the other thing is you're not talking about a situation in which the whistle was blown dead, therefore you cannot change. You know, the rule is that if the whistle's blown dead, you cannot change the possession. That doesn't even come into play here.
Down by contact situation. That's not what we're dealing with.
Doesn't even come into play here. So this ball can change hands.
What do you got? The ball passed behind. The ball passed behind.
And as you can see, they're consulting with.
It is a touchback.
It's Art McNally on there.
Art McNally. Touchback. He just said it's a touchback, right? Carolina's ball.
Oh, they're going
to 20.
They're not going to like that when they announce it in here. I'll tell you that.
The ball passed behind the pylon in the end zone. Therefore, it is a touchback. The challenge is successful.
And look at the excitement on Carolina's sideline.
That's Carolina football, and the people here are stunned.
Now and then. This goes back to the point I made in the first half when they used all their timeouts. Fortunately, here in the second half, they haven't burnt their timeouts, so they were able to challenge. If this had happened in the first half, they were out of timeouts at this point and wouldn't have been able to challenge. So Chris Winkie improved from the first half to the second half and not having to use timeouts.
And that helped them. 24-13, Carolina up by 11, 3:32 left. And it's another turnover for the Vikings. They go to the ground, and Nick Goings rips open a big hole, and Goings picks up a first down. And you know, when you break this one down, you got to talk about Chris Winkie and what an outstanding debut he had here in front of his home, at his hometown, in front of a lot of friends and family, and just a star in the making for the Carolina Panthers, their young quarterback. I say young, but he's young in the sense that he's a rookie, but he's kind of old at 29.
He was 28 when he was drafted, and he turned 29 in training camp. This is certainly the maturity level when you're dealing with a 29-year-old is certainly different from that of a 22-year-old, which most rookies are 22 or 23.
We'll keep it on the ground again. Goings for 3 more. And here are the rookie quarterbacks on opening day. If you're looking for some comparison, here's some of the great names in the game and how they fared in their opener.
And the one thing I look at, look, loss. 4 out of the 5 of them have lost. And if Carolina continues to burn the clock up, Winkie will be on the win column. And those are some great quarterbacks that were on that list. And look at his numbers today. Nothing fantastic, but look, this is what I like to look at when I'm talking about a quarterback is yards per attempt. And he's over 10 yards per attempt, and that's outstanding for any quarterback.
Vikings use their final timeout, and Cretin-Durham High School here in St. Paul, Minnesota is where Chris Winkie went to. He was a baseball player. They were state champions in 1990. Here he is ripping one down the line. Winkie, quite the baseball player, actually played 6 years in the Blue Jays AAA farm team before he went to Florida State, and that's when he picked up his football career again. But he also played high school football and had a chance to win a state championship. They lost by 1 point right here in this building.
Right here in the Metrodome, and I had the opportunity to watch him over the last few years at Florida State, myself being from Florida, and he's a fantastic player.
Goes to the ground, and Goings very close to a first down, and if he gets his first down, that's, I mean, the Vikings are out of timeouts. They're going to have a hard time stopping this thing and getting the football back.
Last time the Vikings lost on opening day was at Chicago in '95. That's a long time ago. That shows a lot of years of success.
That's the long. You were still playing back then.
Absolutely.
That's a long time ago.
Absolutely.
But what a surprise, too. And the last people who expected this were the Vikings. I mean, they came in here, the only undefeated team in the preseason, expected to have great success. It didn't happen. 2 minutes left. Carolina 24, Minnesota 13.
Fox NFL Sunday. Brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere NFL fans want to be.
Let's belt it out for your 13. A halfy sideline over there. You see Wesley Walls telling his stories. And what a game he had. Made a huge difference in that offense. Caught the ball when they needed to. And on the other sideline, what you might expect. Melancholy. Head shaking and frustration. Winky takes the knee.
The big story today has been the rushing game for the Carolina Panthers and the ability to take the pressure off of the rookie quarterback Chris Winky, and they certainly found a running back in Nick Goins, who was 24 attempts, 82 yards, and look what that did for them as far as time of possession. It kept the big three off the field today.
And the Panthers will let this one wind down. Snap the ball again. They'll have to snap it one more time after that, and this one will pretty much be history. Take this chance to tell you today's game is being produced by Raymond V. Smaltz III, directed by Andy Kendall. Our associate director is Bobby Grossman. Our broadcast associate is Phil Mason. Our technical producer Marvin Kale. The studio show is produced by Scott Ackerson and directed by Bob Levy. The associate director is Jennifer Love. The senior producer is Bill Brown. The executive producers of Fox Sports are Ed Gorin and David Hill.
This has been a totally unexpected outcome. I think if you told anybody that the Carolina Panthers were going to come to Minnesota and beat the Vikings by 11 points with a rookie at the helm, they would have told you were crazy.
Indeed, they would have, and you had a hard time. I mean, I'm crazy because that's what I thought exactly was going to happen.
Put me in that same category.
What an impressive debut for Chris Wenke and the Carolina Panthers, starting out the 2001 season, going on the road and pulling out a huge victory. And Denny Green and George Seifert shake hands at the middle of the field, and the clock is winding down under 10 seconds, and then that's about it here from the Metropolitan Dome. So this is Ray Bentley for Jeff Lageman and Mike Goldberg saying so long from Minnesota, where the final score is Carolina 24, Minnesota 13. Stay tuned for the second game of our doubleheader between the Rams and the Eagles.